big story is Calvin Ridley throwing down a little wage, couple of wages here.
You wanted him to be a Jet. It's not going to happen because he's not playing at all this year with this suspension for a year. And I get it and I understand it, and I'm not going to excuse him for anything because this. It's in the fine. It's not even in the fine print. It's in bold print. Don't gamble on football. So he made his own bed. Now he's laying in it or not laying in it. If that's what it means to play the game. So he's not going to play for a season. Obviously, it's a huge story. And just doesn't happen a lot. It was the previous one, Alex Karras back in the 60s.
And Paul Hornung for the 63 season.
Right? Yep. This just doesn't happen because it's so explicit that you can't do this in
they're not
in
caught.
the NFL.
We don't know that it doesn't happen.
Well, hold on. This is going to be my point. It even goes to, and I didn't even really think about this until I read the details of this story, to fantasy sports. Right? I told you this all the time. People used to come up to me when I was playing. Oh, you crushed me in fantasy football. Oh, you didn't score. You got caught on the 2-yard. Oh, I don't care. We won the game. But fantasy has ticked up significantly, and you got to believe that these guys are playing some sort of fantasy football. I mean, MJD used to talk about it.
Yes, he did. Against the Jets, he took a knee.
That's right. MJD used to talk about his fantasy team. Now, you can play fantasy sports if you're a professional football player. You just can't bet more than $250 in total for the whole pot.
Yeah.
So if you have a 10-team league, the buy-in can't be more than $25 per team, which is, it is what it is. The thing that got me about this as I started to think about it was, what in the hell kind of tracking system does the NFL have that they can ascertain that Calvin Ridley, one of their players, is in Florida? He is gambling on a app, I think it was the Hard Rock app, gambling on an app and put XYZ parlay on not basketball, not baseball, not cricket, not soccer, but on the NFL. What are they How are they tracking him? Look, it's an example. It's an example.
Alert! We've got a rogue one.
Talk about Big Brother, dude. Holy cow.
He's gambling.
Orwell, 1984
going
on
kidding,
right now. That was the big thing. And I think it was a lesson for all players now. If they are doing these things, that you will get caught because the NFL has some crazy secret tracking technology that mimes your phone and pulls your IP data. It's insane. That's what got me the most.
Yeah.
Not that he did it, because,
Yeah.
He's just being a moron and gambling, but still, that they tracked him and they knew exactly where he was and exactly what he bet on.
The NFL is as hypocritical as any sport out there for a multitude of reasons.
Oh, yeah, that too.
All right. But I got to tell you here, Teak, the NFL should be counting their blessings right now because in the grand scheme, that is a fairly innocuous bet. 3 parlays, 1,500.
It's nothing.
But this allows the NFL now to drop the hammer and establish precedents.
Yes.
Now, do I believe that Ridley should be suspended for a year? No. But it doesn't matter what I believe. You're right. He's warned. They're warned. Everybody knows the warnings. But think about if Calvin Ridley or somebody else placed a $300,000 bet.
Yeah.
Or Calvin Ridley bet $5,000 on the Falcons to lose. I'm going to use the word innocuous again because I think it really pertains. This is a fairly innocuous thing.
It's very innocuous.
But the NFL should be on bended knee saying, okay, we knew it was a matter of time that one of our own colored outside the lines. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. So we are thankful that it happened on a low monetary figure where there was no exchanging of insider trading, so to speak. Now,
and a guy who wasn't playing,
and a guy who
not even in the locker room, so not necessarily aware.
Well, that's where the insider trading stuff, because that's why I was saying that. But yes, you're right. Removed for 5 days.
That's right.
As he dealt with some mental health issues. Here's the thing about the NFL. So the NFL's expecting their calculations for the 2022 season that they're expected to generate about $270 million in betting and gambling from betting and gambling sites. $270 million. Now, we were just up at FanDuel in Mohegan Sun. Myself, Gio, McPherson, Larry Holmes, Jerry Cooney, Michael Buffer. Mm-hmm. We all got paid X amount of dollars. Now, I'm sure that we were the lowest end of the scale. I'm quite sure about that. But we all got paid a little something to show up. Guess who else was out there? I told you. Gronk didn't retire yet.
No.
Gronk, there's a good chance. I mean, I read a story last week. The Bills, despite having a really good tight end, now they might go and make a play for Gronk. So I know for a fact that Gronk got paid to show up and do his thing with FanDuel.
Why would he go otherwise?
Exactly. Well, let me. I don't know for a fact. I strongly surmise, unless he was just rolling by playing, Spanish 21 or Let It Ride, and he just happened to stumble into this grand opening with Michael Buffer doing his thing with a champagne toast. I don't think it's that much of a coincidence. He was incentivized to go monetarily, which I'm fine with. But this is what's so, I don't want to say dangerous, but so murky about the relationship with some of these partners. Now, I love it. We benefit from it.
Yep.
But we've got to have clear and distinct separation from the league. So let's say Gronk plays for, let's say Gronk goes to, I don't know, the 49ers next year, and they deploy a double tight end set, and they run it 40 times a week like they usually do, right? And Gronk plays $7, $8, $9, $10 million. So what if Gronk placed a bet on the fight, which we might have,
which is
the
legal.
Warriors game,
which is legal.
Yeah, yes, it is. But why is it legal? And what if Calvin Ridley, instead of betting $1,500 on the NFL, what if he bet $249, which is below the acceptable threshold of fantasy engagement for players?
Yeah.
So again, if he bet $249, he'd still get pinched.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. It's that you bet it all. It's just very nebulous. Let's not be dummies. If Gronk or Ridley wants to place a $500,000 bet with their brother-in-law, and there's no digital imprint, it's so easy to do.
That's right.
So, again, the NFL should be thankful that this isn't far worse, that they can use his as an example and hopefully deter others from doing this.
Yes. Now, 7 years ago, and I heard this yesterday, and it made me look it up, but 7 years ago, Tony Romo gotten a little bit of hot water because he was doing a fantasy football expo. It's called Fan Expo LLC.
I remember this.
And the NFL pushed back. This is obviously in the offseason, pushed back and said, you cannot do this. And they ended up having to cancel this expo. And the expo sued the NFL. I think it was only for $1 million or so. But it was at the Venetian. There was going to be like 60 players there, including Odell, Gronk, Des Bryant. A bunch of people were going to this expo thing. And they canceled it because of the thought of impropriety. Now, Romo ripped the NFL after this.
They also weren't in a relationship yet with these gambling sites.
That's right. And this was prior to the NFL saying, hey, you know what? We can make $270 million a year with all of these gambling sites. They're taking over the advertising around sports. We might as well get our piece of the pie and throw a shield on some of these gambling sites, which we've now seen. There are official partners of the NFL. Now, this is obviously led by the owners. So in so many ways, they are hypocritical, as we're talking about. But the one thing that you know about the NFL, at least we want to believe about the NFL, is that the game has integrity, that the officials aren't screwing up on purpose, even though there are tons of conspiracy theories about this all the time, that the players are playing their asses off every single time they take the field to win, even if they're on bad teams that are just subperforming, and that everyone involved, from front office to the equipment guy and all the players in between, are doing everything to win. It's the only way that we as a consuming public, and especially those that want to lay a couple coins on it, will trust the product, right? This isn't wrestling, right? This isn't WWE. This is real outcomes that they have to be trusted. And I think the NFL, that's why they came down so hard on Calvin Ridley, because any idea that the outcome can't be trusted crushes their relationship with all of these gambling sites.
It's the biggest downfall for anything. If there's a lack of authenticity or the belief that the results are not achieved in an authentic manner, you compromise. If the NFL, you're talking about the skeleton of the body, without that, everything kind of collapses. It just kind of falls to the ground without the ability to adhere to the spine and everything. By the way, my IT band is on fire.
Hey.
What the hell's going on?
I would think that you're running like I am, but
No,
I know you're
not at
not.
all.
So I don't know. Maybe you probably have a back your back
Well,
is
it's
just,
all connected to the back, but
it's just shifted.
is this thing going to go away soon? Because it is.
Yeah,
it's brutal, dude.
It's your back is probably out of line. You know what I mean? Like one of your hips is higher than the other one.
I get it. But so, guy like Hardy got suspended years ago, 10 games, and it was later reduced, I want to say, to 4 or 5 games for domestic abuse.
That's
Here's
right.
the issue. Of course, Calvin Ridley needs to be suspended. That's a given. A year?
I know.
I mean, that seems
He's a deterrent.
A little.
It's,
I know.
It's just a deterrent.
Well, that's why I say the NFL should, on some level, be very thankful for this, because he gives them the opportunity to drop the hammer and dissuade others from doing this. Now, listen, there was a point where I absolutely believe, especially like in the 70s and the 80s, where there weren't as many cameras or no cameras, and it's just a little looser connection. Guys in the mafia, guys who are a little shady. You're running information, you're getting paid to give information. You might be betting money, you're meeting unsavory characters, you're on the street corner. Like, you think about the way gambling was back in the day, it's very different than now. But just because it's cleaned up and it's socially acceptable, doesn't mean that there aren't any pitfalls. I still think there are not many. Yeah. Not many. But the NFL long ago made this decision. I've got no issue with it. Let's be totally honest. You and I benefit from this. We make extra money on the side, including this past weekend up at Mohegan Sun. But I just think that it's a little strong for a year compared to other suspensions.
But we're not players.
I understand that.
That's the challenge.
Did Gronk retire?
No.
I saw Sterling Shepard there. Now, I don't know if Sterling I don't know if he paid, if he was paid an appearance fee. And I don't even know if he's going to be on the Giants next year. They asked him to take a $7 million pay cut from 8 change to the veteran minimum of a little bit more than $1 million. I wasn't going to ask him that. I said, hi, how's the Achilles? And that was it. I don't know if he got paid to be up there, but what if he plays next year?
I mean,
and he's probably going to play next year. He should play next year.
That's why it's murky, BT.
They're there.
That's why it's murky, because by extension, because the NFL has partnerships with these sports books.
Yep.
So by extension, the players are also endorsing these sports book and maybe even overtly promoting these, like Gronk, Sterling Shepard, whoever it may be. And I can't think if I've seen a national commercial with a current NFL player.
I have not.
I don't think so.
You see Drew Brees now doing his thing, and the Mannings, but the current, no.
I don't think anyone current.
I have not.
But the teams are associated. So by extension, the players are associated. So, I mean, look, this is a small bet. But if it was a huge bet, like you're talking about, BT, and say the Falcons won a game that nobody thought they were going to win because he knew something from somebody on the other team, that's where it gets dicey.
Or if you bet on the Falcons to lose.
That's right.
That's why it's worth repeating. They are lucky that it went down this way.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, I don't care if it was $500 that he bet for the Falcons to lose. Like, can you imagine the tone of the conversation today? Like, I think most people look at Calvin Ridley and you see the memes. The guy, for a $1,500 bet, he lost $11 million. Those are the worst odds in the history of betting. We get that. But, and he's a bit of a punchline. He's brought this upon himself. I think he needs to stop tweeting.
Yes.
He went on a 7. I get it. You want to defend your own character. I do respect that. But I would lay out for a little bit. This thing is not the end. He's not a child molester.
It's not a big deal.
He didn't strike a woman.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
No, he wasn't slinging 300 pounds of heroin. Yeah. Let's have a little perspective here.
We're not getting on air saying Calvin Ridley's never playing football again.
I'm getting on air saying I don't think he should even be suspended for a year is what I'm saying.
I don't disagree, BT.
But man, oh man, they are so lucky that this wasn't worse, because perceptually, this would have been, and just the tone, the visceral reaction, the alarmist, and rightfully so at that point, would have been totally different today. Totally different.
I promise you that at some point, the union is going to get pushed back on this. I promise you. The players are going to start saying, how the hell does the NFL know what I'm doing? Right? Remember the Uber thing? We talk about it all the time. These guys, they're knuckleheads. They go have a couple drinks. They get pulled over for DUI, and we always say, just take an Uber, dude. The NFL gives you Ubers. Right?
Yeah.
The players,
not actually an Uber, more just an NFL-sponsored car.
Yeah, whatever it is. They give you a ride home. And guys don't do it.
I don't trust
because
them.
they don't want the league or the teams to know what they're doing.
Yes.
Well, clearly the league and the team knows what these guys are doing.
At least with gambling.
If they're tracking Calvin Ridley's cell phone when he's 400 miles away in Florida, making eight, what was it, eight total bets, I believe it was.
It was three parlays.
Three parlays.
Totaling $1,500.
Yeah, 3 parlays, $1,500. They're tracking that. At some point, the players are going to say, I'm not okay with that.
Yeah.
I promise you that's coming next.
It seems like a violation of,
exactly.
I don't know, of your rights.
Exactly.
Let's be honest
I'm
here.
your employee, but you can't tell me what the hell I could do.
Man, oh, man. Let's get to Nick in Pompton Plains. He's first up on the fan on this Tuesday. What's happening, Nick?
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
We're good. What's up, Nick?
You're right. A year is way too much for a player betting. I'm not saying that he wasn't wrong, but he wasn't even playing. He's not in the locker room, and you're going to give him a year. And yet Greg Hardy gets 10 games reduced to 4 for something that is
egregious,
way worse.
Egregious.
It's horrible. And I think the NFL is setting a bad precedent, and it's just a bad look on them altogether with doing this for a year. Do I think he should get suspended? Yes. You need to teach him a lesson, and you need to let players know that you can't bet and something's going to come down on it.
Yes.
But not a year.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, they came down really hard. Now, I don't know if this has – appreciate your call, Nick. I don't know if this has the same – like if you get fined, so your jersey's untucked and you get fined and they hit you for $4,000 or whatever it may be, you can appeal that. You can appeal it, and then, maybe they reduce the fine to $1,000, or they rescind it totally because, the D tackle pulled your jersey out trying to tackle you, and you didn't realize it was out, and it goes to no fine. Like, I don't know if this is
he can appeal.
Is appealable.
He can appeal.
And if it is appealable,
he can appeal.
But if it's appealable, that means it's likely to get reduced.
Which is why you start having with the expectation it's going to get trimmed.
That's exactly my point.
Here's the other thing, too. If you're a player right now, and again, I don't know how you can argue that really shouldn't be penalized at all. Even though he was away from the team, you've got to punish him and penalize him to set this precedence here. But if you're a player in the NFL now, you got to be sitting there, unless you have no common sense, you got to be sitting there saying, all right, let me get this right here. They just hammered my boy for a year, and he bet for the Falcons to win for a rather minuscule amount of money relative, obviously, to their their wealth, their pay. And man, if I color out the outside the lines more aggressively than that, if they dropped a year on him, I might get the lifetime suspension.
That's right. So
that's why they did it.
You better be real about it.
That's why they did it. 877-337-6666. Tiki and Tierney. It is a big day for baseball. They're getting a little closer. I know you've heard that before, so we won't inundate you with the overly optimistic slant. I still believe something's going to happen soon, positively, but not everybody's with me. But we will tell you what's at stake today. But we're going to get with this. I mean, a year too strong. What should the penalty be? We'll get your reaction. Calvin, really, I mean, when you saw this on Twitter, you're like, whoa. And then you actually probe a little bit more deeply into it. You're like, yeah, all right. Now you got to punish him. But 877-337-6666. Tiki and Tierney on the fan.